Angela, thank you so much for allowing me to come visit with you at your home today. It's such a pleasure, and we're so grateful for your support of Wayne County Community Foundation. Your interest in our area is really inspiring, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about your giving and the future.
Well, thank you, Steve. I know it's hard to get out of the office these days and take the time to meet with donors. And I will say I really appreciate you speaking with me and coming to my home and just having that conversation. I work with a lot of other organizations and no one else is doing this. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. I I know you are young and you have young boys. Um, but one of my roles for Wayne County Community Foundation is to help people think long-term about how they wish to benefit our community. As you know, there are many needs in our community, and I'm not really here to guide you toward any one specific project. I know you have a number of interests based on where you've directed funds through the foundation in the past. But today I'd really like to sit down and think broadly with you about what is important to you and your family. What are your concerns as you look at the world your boys are going to be inheriting in the decades ahead? And then to kind of maybe, if you're open to it, to explore some of the options that may be available to you and your husband as you go about your ongoing planning.
I would love that. That would be helpful to understand what's available. And I think I want to know what does Wayne County need? How can I benefit you all? I mean, there's so many different things out there. I have young children. The world's a scary place, and I don't think it's getting any better. And I think that's honestly, I want safety and I want everybody to have the same opportunities that I did. I want my children to as well. So anything that I can do to make sure that the community is safe, just how it was when I grew up, I would love to see what my options are with all of that.
So from a starting place, sadly, we can't guarantee safety. I think as we look around the country, it feels like no place is safe.
Right.
At the same time, there are ways to help improve our communities, to help address mental health issues in the community, as well as the situations that prompt people in the direction of crime because they can't support themselves seemingly any other way. And so I will start from a position of unrestricted giving. Unrestricted giving allows the community foundation to match resources with the needs that they see on an annual basis. And while you give annually, one of the things that we are looking to long term is what happens when you and Scott aren't here anymore. All of a sudden, there's a hole where your giving had been there helping us meet the needs in the community. And one way people can help is by setting up an unrestricted endowment for the Wayne County Community Foundation that allows us to both support the operations of the foundation and to support grant making for whatever the need. And I'm hoping that we're talking seriously decades away from now when that
Right.
gift might come to fruition. But whatever the needs are then, that are probably outside of our ability to imagine what they might be. I mean, we can imagine, but the reality is the world changes at a rapid pace, and what we think is needed today may not be what's going to be helpful down the road. So
How
that
do,
was kind of long-winded.
yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
n-
If it's helpful, you and Scott give $1,000 to the Wayne County Community Foundation annual basis. If you wanted to endow that, it would typically take 20 times that. Our
Okay.
endowment spending policy varies, but typically a 5% spending policy on endowment is considered a conservative spending policy. So if you had $20,000 in an endowment fund, that would be producing $1,000 gift on an annual
Okay.
basis.
And I do also have Wayne County in my will. I don't know if that's helpful to
Thank
know.
you.
Yes, very absolutely. We love the mission of Wayne County, and we really just want to, do anything that we can. We understand that we might not be able to give as much while we're living, but definitely want to make sure that you guys are all listed in our wills as well. So I don't know if there's anything that is helpful for you to understand at this point, or
Yes.
Okay.
One, I just want to jump in right away and say thank you. That is a wonderful gift. We'd love to recognize you in the O'Neill Society, which recognizes people like you and Scott who have taken the extraordinary step of elevating Wayne County Community Foundation to the level of family. When you name us as a beneficiary of your will or a trust or any other arrangement, you are basically making us family, and we are um, very cognizant of the honor and the responsibility that brings to be good stewards of your resources. So some details on that. It would be helpful to understand if you're willing to share the language from whatever document is guiding these funds to us, so that we make sure that we are able to fulfill what your wishes are. And I only say this because sometimes people have very specific designations, which may or may not be feasible for us to execute. And it's always good to have this conversation while you and Scott are with us, in case anything needs to be modified or tweaked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can certainly do that. Is it okay if my attorney sends you a copy of that? Is that the best way to do it?
That would be ideal.
Okay.
And we should talk about whether you and Scott wish to be recognized by name or whether you prefer to be anonymous. There are pros and cons, and I'm not here to advocate in either direction. Some people with children have opted not to be recognized because they don't want this to be widely known in the community. I would offer a contrary position as somebody who's raising money for the foundation. It's helpful to have real people associated with taking this inspirational step. What we have found is that people will look at you and Scott and say, well, gosh, if the two of them have decided that this is important and they have taken this step, I should be thinking about what I'm going to do for the community as well. And they may choose to do that through Wayne County. They may choose to do it through other charities, but you are really inspiring others to think intentionally about what will happen down the road.
Sure. I know we have mixed feelings about that. Obviously, we're trying to instill a philanthropic mindset with our children. They are very young, so it's just your typical volunteering, showing them different ways to give back, donating toys that they don't want, things like that. But so in that sense, I think it's good that they know that mom and dad did this so that they can carry it out as well. But I always am a little cautious about putting our name on any type of gift. We prefer to be anonymous. So it's something we'll have to think about.
Absolutely, and there's no pressure either way. Please know that we don't include a dollar amount in the O'Neill Society. We just list people by name.
Okay.
But again, if you wish to be anonymous, you can certainly be anonymous. One other area thinking about your boys is the donor advised fund is a great tool for teaching younger generations about philanthropy. So your young men see the two of you in your volunteer activities, giving back. It's a different exercise, another experience to sit down with the two of you and walk through what it is you would particularly want to support, which organizations that the foundation helps you want to help with a grant recommendation, or which organizations out in the community you'd like to support. Instead of simply writing a check, you're doing it through the community foundation, which in one case makes it much easier. You're not having to write a bunch of checks, and it gives your boys an opportunity to go through the process of what are the needs in the community, what are the dollar amounts we're committing, are the organizations we supported last year good stewards of those resources, what were the outcomes. It's an evolutionary teaching tool, not unlike saving for retirement or the future, or a college tuition. These are opportunities where the community foundation can partner with you.
That's interesting. I wasn't familiar with that, so that's really interesting to know that there's a vehicle out there like that. I would definitely want to know more about that. That sounds like that might be a good avenue for us.
Great. Do you have other questions about the community foundation? I'm certainly going to leave you with the annual report, which you should have gotten already, but it's always handy to have one easily referenced. And we'd love to talk with you and Scott together if that if that's okay, if he's interested in sitting down to have this conversation, I'd love to introduce you to the executive director or maybe a member of the board if you would enjoy that.
Absolutely. We would be happy to do that.
Great. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your support of Wayne County Community Foundation and for the community itself. What you are doing is really inspiring, and thank you for remembering the foundation in your long-term plans. We do
Oh,
hope it will be
absolutely.
many decades until that,
You
that
and me
is
both.
realized. All right. Well,
Absolutely. And
have a
thank
great day.
you. You
All right.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.